Good morning to you all. I hope you've had an amazing time in the last couple of days. I've been just waiting for this event, ever since Shekhar invited me. Thank you very much for having me here. I've been just thinking about what an exciting event and how we're going to engage and how we're going to have a conversation and talk to you about it. And I'm just impressed with the amount of energy and the amount of enthusiasm. I just spent the whole morning talking to startups and sharing my experience with them. It's quite interesting to see the twinkle in their eyes. Like, yeah, I think I've got a brilliant idea here. And then you give them a little nugget from here and there, and suddenly things start coming together. This is what I love so much. The other day, I've got two young boys, and my 6-year-old was asking me, and he knows that I work for IBM, but he says, "So what do you do, Papa?" And I said, let's try to be as cool as you can. So I said, I do Internet of Things. And then again, he gave me this look saying, well, what the hell is that? And I said, instead of starting with this whole thing about devices connected, I said, Logan, you know Minecraft? And some of you who have kids will know Minecraft. And so he said, yeah, of course I know Minecraft because he plays. And he said, think about Minecraft as a big, massive Minecraft. Everything you can connect, and everything can talk to each other. And suddenly he was thinking, that's pretty cool. So I went from this boring dad working for IBM to this super cool dad. And so this is how excited I am and how passionate I am about IoT. So I'm really glad to be here. Right, so cognitive IoT, we at IBM believe that the future of the Internet of Things is cognitive, right? And we believe that in the future, every decision that you and I as human beings are going to make will be informed by a cognitive system like Watson. And it's going to make our lives for the better, right? And I also want you to share with you that cognitive is not just artificial intelligence. For us, cognitive is about a partnership. It's a partnership between people, us as human beings, and the machine. And we at the Watson IoT team, we're working really hard to identify ways to be able to help human beings be better at what they do, and not just trying to recreate the human brain in a machine form. So I just want to start this off with that whole thing. This is about augmenting. This is about really making humans the best at what they do, right? So let me ask you to think about how exciting it is about all those connecting and coordinating of all those billions of devices, right? And I'm not just talking about these mobile phones that you and I carry. We all have these mobile phones and smartphones, but I'm talking about everything that connects us to the physical world. So think about your cars, think about your appliances, think about all the equipment on your shop floor. Even think about your contact lenses, because they're all communicating, they're all sharing information about their condition, all learning and improving through use, right? So this is pretty much the promise of the Internet of Things. And we would have the ability to design products that actually adapt to us, rather than us adapting to the products. We can orchestrate all of these things that are really important for us. We can orchestrate them, we can get more value out of these things. Businesses can create or have better operational performance. They can serve their customers better. So that's really the promise of the IoT. I guess you all ask the question, so is this promise being delivered? Is IoT really delivering its promise? And I can tell you that, I spend most of my time engaging with my clients all across the world. And in the last 6 to 8 months or 6 to 9 months, I have 3 big shifts that I've noticed. The first one is that organizations are moving from exploration to transformation. These strategies, how can you leverage the power of IoT and the industry-specific use cases? They're becoming more and more clear. The second thing is access to new sources of data and driving insight from those new sources of data is going to be the competitive differentiation. And it's not just data from IoT devices. It's about the data from IoT devices, combine that with your enterprise data, and then also augment that with some new sources of data like weather or social. And how do you create insights? So that's going to be the competitive edge. And then the third thing is, this is a top business priority for every organization. In my previous role, I might have struggled to get an appointment with the CEO. I don't struggle. I don't struggle in getting an appointment, you see, because every C-level exec wants to have a conversation. They are inquisitive. They want to know how IoT is going to help them do three things. How is it going to help them improve their performance? How is it going to help them serve their customers better? And most importantly, how is it going to help them drive new revenue through connected products, right? So this is what we are experiencing in terms of the three big shifts. So, I mean, then you'd say, okay, I get it, Sanjay, about IoT, but why do I need cognitive IoT, right? And the thing I'd like you to think about it is that IoT is vast. It's massive. It's a massive interoperability challenge. You think about it, by 2020, we will have 30 billion devices. 30 billion devices. And 40% of all of the IoT, all of the data is going to be IoT. This is structured data, unstructured data, IoT device data, video data, sound, acoustic data, text, natural language, tons and tons. So traditional systems, they can all store this data, they can probably process this data. But what they cannot do is they cannot understand it. So it's cognitive systems that are very important, because what they can do is they can, of course, digest all of this data, structured and unstructured. But most importantly, they can understand through sense and interaction. They can reason, they can create hypotheses, they can create arguments, they can create recommendations. So they can reason. And then the most important is they can learn. So, they learn from experts, they learn through constant interaction, and they learn through, eating tons and tons of data. And that's absolutely critical. And that's why, we believe that cognitive is so critical to be able to take that value out from IoT. And I can give you stats still, I'll stand here and keep quoting stats, but 88% of all the IoT data that we collect today is not used, does not get action. It's just up, right? So therefore, you want to unleash the power, you need to think in terms of cognitive. So, let's not talk too much about theory. Let's talk about practical examples in terms of how organizations are really driving benefits from IoT. And so I thought that I'll pick up three themes, and we can talk about a few organizations that we are working with. So the first theme I said was operational performance. Let's start with that. The second one is about customer interaction and the experience. The third one is just about transformation. How are the models are completely changed. So if you think about operational performance, what do the organizations have today? They have better visibility, better control across the entire business. And they can use IoT to do that. Yeah? And then you have tons and tons of examples of companies that are saving costs leveraging IoT. Yeah, I picked two. So CSX, and some of you might be familiar, is a North American rail transportation company, right? They are one of the pioneers of using IoT to be able to, manage rail systems. So what do they do? They take the sensors on their locomotives. They've got about 4,000 locomotives, and they take the data from those sensors, and they're doing better maintenance and predictive maintenance on those assets. They're saving $2.5 million a year just by managing those 4,000 locomotives. And I would say to you, it's not so much about the money. But what's more important is that the trains are more reliable and they run on time. And you see that impact for all of us. So just think about the impact that has in terms of all of the businesses running. Another example is the port of Cartagena in Colombia, right? This port is the largest port in Colombia. They are handling something like about 50 million tons every year of cargo, and that's a big operation. So what they're doing is they're leveraging a hybrid of cognitive IoT. When I say hybrid, what I mean is they've got sensors on all of their critical equipment, so like rubber tire gantries or cranes or forklifts, etc. And some of the data they need to analyze and make decisions right there on the spot. They cannot wait for something to go into the cloud and something to be analyzed and then come back to them. No, they can't wait. They need it analyzed there and then. So their solution to that is what's called edge computing or edge analytics. So analytics at the edge. And what they do is they take part of the data, they analyze it very quickly, and they give decisions back to the operator there so they can move like this. And the rest of the data, they take it across to the cloud, and then they're analyzing it and then do some strategic decision making based on that. So there you can see, how they are really leveraging IoT to drive operational performance. So let's turn our attention a bit to consumer experience. And what businesses are doing is they are leveraging the fact that you can understand more about your product, more about your service, and you can create better insights. How do you use all of that to enrich the customer's experience? And the example I would give you is we're working with the world's largest retailer, and I assume I don't have to give you the name because you know who the world's largest retailer or store is. But we're working with them to build a Watson advisor application. Effectively, what that advisor application does is it does a 360-degree of the store operations and the environment for the store manager. So this is totally digitizing everything in the store, literally. There's tons of sensors, there's obviously motion detectors, movement detectors, temperature sensors, etc. But it gives that store manager a full view of his or her operations. And so what is the store manager going to do with this? Well, there's lots of things they can do with this. So for one, these stores, this largest store, it costs them $2 billion in food spoilage. Right? Food goes waste. Food goes bad. If you leave it on the shelf too long, it does go bad. So, you leave it in a cooler, which is not at the right temperature, it does go bad. So, what they use is they use that data, IoT data, to be able to understand where things are not going right and be able to preempt, right, to scale it. So that's big savings. But if you think about the customer experience, so let's assume, so what Watson can do is it can pull in data from other things like weather or maybe the radio, the news, some events that are happening in the neighborhood. If there's a big marathon happening in your neighborhood, what's the first thing? If you're running for the marathon, the first thing you're thinking, I need some liquids, I need some energy. So you're going to run into a retail store and you're going to say, I need to go to my marathon, I need the first thing you find, which is the easiest to catch, you'll pick that up. So therefore, if you think about it, if the store manager knows there's an event happening, it helps him or her with merchandising and product placement. So they will place it at the right place and come and pick it up on your own. Right? So those are the kind of things that IoT is helping in enriching the consumer experience. And then, this one is like sort of my favorite because this is really truly about companies transforming. They're changing their business models. They are looking at unconventional partnerships. They're looking at new services. They're looking at new sources of revenue. Daimler, they've been in the business of selling cars since 1886. Everybody would remember that, that logo. But IoT is actually enabled for this business, for this historic company, a new business model. So Daimler Cargo, which you can see the picture of, it's the world's largest mobile car sharing enterprise, right? And they've got about 15,000 cars, they've got 1.2 million subscribers. And there was a demand in the market, and IoT enabled it. And what's very interesting is that the success of Daimler has actually converted them from a car manufacturer to a transportation provider. So you see, Daimler don't think about themselves as just car manufacturers or automotive manufacturers. They think about themselves as a service. They are providing services. So it's very, very exciting, how people are leveraging IoT and either transforming themselves completely or really raising the game in terms of their businesses. Okay, so then the question is, those that are having successes, those that are able to leverage these so-called goodies of IoT, what are they doing really? Well, this is my observation. Leading companies are actually doing three things. First and foremost, they're applying a platform strategy. So they are defining how are they going to connect these devices, collect that data, allow their companies to be able to analyze and use that data. So that's the first thing. Have a good platform strategy. Now, not all companies are building their own platforms. Some companies decide that it's better for them to partner with other companies and adopt technology, but there are others that build their own platforms also. The second thing is very critical is companies are realizing that they have to understand how to access insights from new data. So, you think about it, you've got IoT data, you've got enterprise data, and I said you can combine other sources of data. So understanding that is very important. And then the third thing is that they are definitely defining a roadmap to cognitive. They are defining how is it that they're going to become a cognitive business and what are the steps that they need to do. And step 1, step 2, etc. And then starting along that journey, even if it is in small steps. So that is what the leading companies are doing, those 3 things. And, I guess in some ways we are gathering experience in terms of how are we helping these companies. So what's worth sharing with you is not our solution portfolio, because I'm not in sales mode here. But what I want to share with you is how are we helping the companies, because that will give you some ideas as to how things are gaining traction. So we think about this as a 3-pronged approach. First and foremost, it's build. We are working with developers, software engineers, data scientists, and we are helping them, easily and securely get their devices onto the platform, then be able to manage those devices and actually build applications. Because don't forget, just collecting the data is, I said, 88% of the data is not used. So if you don't build the right kind of application to be able to use that data and transform that into intelligence for your company, it's no use. So that's what they're doing. They're building that application, and then finally they're also doing analytics. So the first and foremost thing we do is we work with developers and data engineers and scientists. The second thing is we work to solve. So we work with the line of business people. These are people that are production managers, they could be operations managers, etc. And what we are helping them do is we're helping them improve their operations. Drive better utilization out of their assets. If you think about assets on a shop floor, production equipment, how do you help them? So you need that application layer. You need to have something that transforms into business intelligence. And then the final one is actually working with the C-level suite. So how do we help CEOs and COOs, CDOs, lots of new titles now. There's also Chief IoT Officer now. I've noticed a lot of companies have introduced that title now. But it's very exciting because there's a lot of focus around digitization. And so how do we help those C-level to be able to transform their company, to be able to find those new sources of revenue, new opportunities that they can go after? So that's how we are engaging with companies, and that's the kind of experience that we are gathering. And I thought it's valuable to share with you. Right. So I have a few examples of cognitive IoT, and I thought it's good to share with you what will be the impact of cognitive IoT. So I think 3 things to share with you would be, 1, cognitive IoT is very much going to change the way we interact with machines. It's going to be different. It's going to be very enriching. It's going to be a different experience. So that's the first and foremost. The second thing is cognitive IoT almost requires that we create a very strong ecosystem of partners to be able to deliver value. So it's encouraging, and I can tell you from experience, nobody can win in IoT just on themselves. You have to partner. You have to partner. But the key thing is finding the right partner and finding the partner with whom you can deliver the right value for your client. So it's that, driving that partnership and that ecosystem. And then the third thing is, how is cognitive IoT really helping on the manufacturing front, on the shop floor? Because to be very honest with you, the shop floor has had so much progression, and you think about how it's gone from industrialization to automation, et cetera, et cetera. There have been so much progression on the shop floor. It's not just about automating another thing. You have to bring something else to the shop floor. So I thought those 3 examples could be quite interesting for you to flavor. So I'm going to start with my first example. Let me see a raise of hands to how many people have seen or heard about Ollie. Okay, probably about 5 to 10% of the room. Listen, people, you need to get out a bit more. You need to get out and see these things. IoT is all about experimentation, you know. So, okay, can we run the video, please?
Hello, my name is Ollie, and I'm making history. I am the first cognitively enabled vehicle. I seat 12 passengers, and you can ask me anything. I'm what's next in automotive innovation. I come from J&D engineers at Local Motors.
Local Motors is a technology company that it's here to revolutionize a 120-year history of the way that vehicles are made.
I still remember the first time someone told me about Local Motors and they said, we have a 3D printed car. And then I saw their vision in projects like Ollie.
You're going to see this shift. You're going to see the vehicles become more highly automated, ultimately autonomous. You're going to see vehicles become cognitive. And so Watson IoT Auto Lab is very much around the future of that cognitive experience.
And the best part, this is just a start. I'm about to go global.
It was very exciting to us when IBM approached us and said, could we partner with you in putting Watson IoT into one of your vehicle sets, and could we do it quickly?
And you have to be able to ask questions, just like my passenger asks me, are we there yet? You can ask Ollie these same questions.
The world of IoT is moving at lightning speed. The only way to stay ahead of that game and to be a player in that game is to be able to innovate as quickly as possible, be able to assemble and deploy solutions as quickly as possible, and that's what Local Motors is trying to do, and that's definitely what IBM Watson IoT is doing.
Well, so long for now. My name is Ollie. It was sure nice to meet you.
What do you think? So, you know, this is this is what I showed my son also, you know. So now he really thinks I'm a super cool dad. But the thing is, Ollie is the first cognitive self-driving vehicle. And what's really exciting, so of course, by the way, just to tell you what it is, it's an electric vehicle. It's made out of 3D printing. Local Motors makes these vehicles, and it was launched in the US. And Ollie can transport about 12 people. And basically it's designed for urban areas, you know, so where you're going to have problems with transportation, and these vehicles can be used. And the interesting thing about Ollie is that Ollie uses the Watson IoT capabilities to be able to create a natural experience for the passengers. So you can sit inside Ollie and you can have just a conversation. And no offense to my colleagues, you know, Siri or Cortana or something, this is not that kind of an experience. This is not you ask a question, it'll tell you 3 different things. Ollie is contextual. So you can ask Ollie, okay, you know, what is going to happen here? What's happening there? What can you see outside? How is the temperature inside, temperature outside? Which restaurant is in the neighborhood? Where should I go? I like eating this. What should I do? It's very contextual. And the interesting thing is, the more you talk to Ollie, the more it learns about you. So if you're sitting next to somebody and he or she is your partner, then and the way you talk to that person, the next time Ollie will remember that that person is your partner. And it's amazing. You have to experience. That's why I said you have to get out and go and experience this, right? So, so this is the #1 point about cognitive. It is going to change the way we interact with machines. Not lots of natural language, lots of contextual conversation. Not a one-way, you know, here's my order, do something. No, no, no. You know, this machine is going to ask you some interesting things. Okay, so the second thing is about what I said around, you know, building partnerships, conventional or unconventional, and actually really delivering value to your clients. And I've chosen the settings of buildings to show you how we are bringing together companies to deliver this value through cognitive IoT for our clients. Now, why did I choose buildings? Because, you know, you and I, everybody interact with buildings, right? We all live in buildings, we work in buildings. And the other stats that I'd tell you is buildings, they consume 40% of our global energy. 40%. They consume 25% of global water. They consume 40% of overall resources, and they cause 1/3 of the greenhouse gas emissions. That is what buildings are. So they are very important, you know. And so effectively what we're doing is we're partnering with some of our names that you can see up there with Siemens Building Technology. So we've established a partnership with them around cognitive IoT. And what we're doing with Siemens is we're helping companies reduce their energy costs in buildings from 30 to 80%. 30 to 80%. And Siemens are able to reduce carbon emissions by 10 million tons each year. And they're able to save $140 million for their customers. So that is the extent to which is what I mean by cognitive IoT. It's not incremental. It is spectacular. And the other thing is, bringing other companies in the ecosystem together. So we're working with Kone. Kone is a manufacturer, Finnish manufacturer, global. They manufacture escalators and elevators. You must have come across Kone. And what's interesting is that they are wanting to leverage cognitive IoT, and that's what they're doing, to change from just delivering escalators and elevators to people flow management. So because Kone knows now with IoT how many people are stepping onto an elevator, getting off, how many are moving, they know how people move around in a building, how they move around in an airport, and they can use that data to help manage people flow. Quite interesting, right? Who would have thought an elevator company would become a people flow management company? That's quite interesting. And then a third company, maybe you know the name, maybe you don't know, but it's ISS. They have 500,000 people. So I was gobsmacked when I heard 500,000 people. But what they do is they do facilities management. So, big facilities, offices, hospitals, etc. They manage all the services in those. Whether it's cleaning, catering, technical upgrades, whatever. They manage all the services. So what they want to do is they are moving away from just facilities management to doing cognitive facility services. And I only want to give you an example because what they want to do is, if you're Barclays and you're the bank, that's what they serve, the biggest banks, their customers should be able to walk in. So Sanjay walks in, there's nothing, there's no badge, ID, nothing. Facial recognition, I come into the office, I'm walking straight, I know on my app or through whatever, maybe those new earpieces that you put inside your head, is room number 52, and I walk to there. And as I'm walking to room number 52, the coffee stall thing has already prepared my latte the way I like it, and I get into the room, and they know exactly how many people are in the room, and if it's not occupied, they can manage those facilities. That's cognitive, right? So that's the excitement that they want to bring an employee experience to their customers, because part of keeping your employees and keeping them happy is the facilities. And then Kimberly-Clark, very interesting. Kimberly-Clark provide utilities for washrooms. So their whole principle is an intelligent washroom, a washroom that never runs out of the utilities. And they are leveraging IoT to make sure that. So now you think about bringing together Siemens, Kone, ISS, Kimberly-Clark together and attacking the challenges of buildings with Watson IoT. And how powerful is that, right? And that's what I wanted to share with you, that this is what cognitive IoT is doing. It's almost naturally bringing together companies and saying, yeah, we are important parts of this ecosystem, and actually we together can deliver lots of value, right? So that's quite powerful. And then the last thing is robots, manufacturing floor. Like I said, on the manufacturing side, I would not dare to go and talk to a manufacturing shop floor manager and tell him, let me help you with automation, because my God, they will look at you as like, God, where are you coming? We've done automation, we know all about it. Can you imagine going to BMW or Mercedes and telling them about automation? You can't. So what we are working on, this is Hanover Messe, we showed this at the Hanover Fair. What we're working on is cognition with robots. And this example, I'll tell you what we're doing here. Basically what we're doing is the gentleman there is talking to the robot in English, and it's saying, write my name Sanjay. Now the robot is Chinese, so it doesn't understand English. So in fact what happens is that voice is captured in English and it goes to Watson IoT Cloud, and then we use these Watson APIs to convert natural language to text. So we convert this natural language into English text. Now again a problem, right? English, you can't tell the robot English. So the English text has to be then converted into Chinese or Mandarin, and then a text instruction is sent to the robot. And that robot then scribes Sanjay in Mandarin. So that's effectively just as simple as, you know, how you can interact with the robot in the future and be able to share. And the other thing is, of course, the robot also communicates back with the supervisor. Not saying I don't like your name or something like that, but the robots have joints, right? They've got mechanical parts, and these joints, they keep wearing and tearing as you use the robot. So the robot is able to predict, understand what's happening with its joints, and is able to communicate with the supervisor and say, right, left hand is going to have a problem in 2 days. You know, we need to get it fixed, right? So that kind of thing. This is where we are putting cognitive IoT to use. Right, so I talked about cognitive quite a lot, and then the other things that are very interesting where a lot of energy is being put around in this space is edge computing. We talked about Port of Cartagena. You saw that example, how you do edge analytics. Blockchain, and I'm sure you're all hearing about blockchain. Blockchain is going to revolutionize the way we move things across boundaries, across organizations. This whole concept of having a distributed ledger where you can, you know, safely and securely share IoT data is going to change things. So that's very important. And then weather, you know, weather is the single largest external factor that impacts businesses. And so combining weather data with business data just changes the way you get insights. And so that is quite critical. So I just wanted to share with you, these are the kind of capabilities in the cognitive space that are becoming really very relevant for organizations. And then we're here, right in the heart of a buzzing space, right? India, and you know, we believe that there's a tremendous amount of potential here. I've been spending a lot of time with the developer community, talking to them, exciting them, and I can see that, you know, there's a lot of movement here. I mean, this conference is a great example of how the movement and the energy is building. Now, in the last 3 months only, we've done about 12 hackathons in India, in different cities, and thousands of developers. You know, there's this tremendous amount of interest. We are working with NASSCOM, you know, the 10,000 startup initiatives. Very exciting to see the ideas that are coming through. We're also working with, you know, with the government around smarter villages initiatives. So I just wanted to emphasize that IBM is heavily committed to India, and we think the movement on IoT is just really taking off here. So it's quite critical. And then, you know, just the final picture is just from our perspective, we see IoT as a very significant strategic initiative for us. You know, our CEO, Ginny Rometty, at the beginning of this year in CES in Las Vegas, she stood there on the stage and she basically said, IBM is a cognitive solutions company based on the cloud. And therefore, we are clearly investing a lot in spaces like Internet of Things. That is where I work. That is Munich. This is our global headquarters. We have 65,000 square feet out here, and we're building some amazing customer labs. This is where all our ecosystem partners, all our customers, and all our business partners, such as systems integrators, will work with us there. We'll have about 1,000 people there. So I would invite you all to come down and of course, be my guest, and please, you know, understand these capabilities that are available there. So I hope this was valuable, and I hope I was able to share some of my views and some of my experiences with you. Well, in summary, you know, I would say that, you know, as human beings, we have the ability to sense our surroundings, right? And when organizations can do the same, whether it's taking devices, data, or machines, or people, and once they can do that and they can infuse that intelligence and that learning, they are improving their operations, they're improving the customer experience, they're improving their products and their people. In fact, they are enhancing their client experience and also their experience of their people. So a cognitive business for me is one that understands, the one that reasons, the one that learns from every dimension of the digital and the physical world. Thank you very much.